So I didn't think I was going to record tonight. As you can see, I am bedtime ready. This has been 1 week. That's for sure. It was something that I didn't expect, and that's kind of how life has been for the last year, really. I know this year is the first of a new 9-year cycle. If you aren't into numerology, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you happen to be a part of the spiritual community, that is a big topic of discussion right now in social media. So last year was the end of year 9. We also had year of the snake, a lot of shedding, and it was really deeply tied into the feminine energy. And last year I cleansed and cleared the feminine woundings of the collective and how they tied into my energy field. And that was very profound and really allowed me to step away from the collective anger that is tied to the feminine wound. And this last new moon, as we enter into this new year 1, we're about to enter into a new zodiac of Chinese astrology on February 17th, which is also the start of a solar eclipse, which happens to be called the Ring of Fire. It's a specific type of solar eclipse where the moon is stationed just perfectly where you can see part of the sun, and the moon just basically is in front of it. It's not a total solar eclipse, but it's a partial or annually, I think, or I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but it's where the moon is furthest away from the earth, and it creates that ring, what looks like a ring of fire, because you can see part of the sun, part of the moon. So there is a big download that I received around that. I'm not going to get into that fully, but it ties into what came up for me, which was the need to cleanse and clear the masculine collective wound. And this came about during the last new moon. New moons are all about beginnings, life and death. At least that's how I feel. Before the new moon, you go through that death process, and then you're entering into the rebirth. So, and it really depicts the darkness of the sky, how there is no quote unquote life of the moon, but it's a beautiful gestation period of recreating what you want. And this year 1 to me kind of reminds me of the new moon, but it was stationed in Capricorn. And this is a big deal because Capricorn is connected to Saturn, and Saturn is about to go into its return for the collective. And Saturn makes its way around the earth every 28 years. So we're about to enter into a new 28-year cycle. And that has to do with cleansing and clearing structures that no longer serve us. And with a year 1 and the solar eclipse, like all of this stuff is taking place, and it's really igniting within the collective a desire to do this work. And I don't even know if it's a desire or more so something that can no longer be ignored. I feel that it's something that is really being called forward at this time so that we can shift into structures that actually serve us moving forward. I feel that there are a lot of shifts that are taking place, and there are a few other planets that are making new homes this year as well. I have them all marked on my astrology calendar, but I'm not going to get into that because I'm here to talk about my mindset meditation. And I wanted to do that because we're in a year 1. There's a lot of structures that I want to address, especially the mental structures. So, what took place this week was a lot of energy healing. So, it really disrupted my meditation practice. I tried my best to stay grounded, and it just wasn't happening for me this week. So, I had to make changes again. Last week, it was doing more subtle work. And when I say subtle work, that's where I just kind of let the meditations play in the background as I slept. And I did that last night because I was completely burnt out. I was pulling at least 8 to 10 hours of energy healing 6 days last week. I had one day off. I thought I was going to have more of a space to do this healing work. The first time I ever finished the blueprint of light, I did it in 6 months, giving you the time difference. So I was called to do this work and I did it. I feel great. And I can already tell the difference in my practice. And when I did it today, it was kind of amazing how these blockages that seem to be inside me are now gone. I'm able to view the text differently. I'm able to receive more downloads and I'm able to view the mindset work almost from a higher perspective now. I understand that there are still going to be times where stuff comes up and that's just being human, that's just going through the process. But when you cleanse and clear your energy field and release the blockages, especially when they're tied to heavy emotions, it really shifts your ability to tap into a positive mindset. Because with the collective, what came up was this anger, this deep seated anger that's tied to the trauma of the masculine wound. And the masculine wound is really deeply connected into emasculation or the emasculation of the masculine energy, not just in men, but in women too. And how a lot of people do this to obtain power from a warped place, from a false sense of control and a false sense of thinking they have power, make one small to make themselves feel bigger. Essentially, it's like the bully system. They've been bullied. So, because they haven't done the healing work or whatever's going on, they then do it to somebody else. It's just kind of like a never ending cycle until someone does the work. And for me, I wanted to cleanse and clear the energies that have been stuck in me for some time so that I could get the most from this next 9 year cycle. So I could get the most from this uh, new Saturn return. I want to cleanse and clear structures that do not serve me. And I know that in doing this work, which is cleansing and clearing the auric field, followed by cleansing and clearing the chakras and realigning the masculine and feminine systems. Both the masculine and the feminine energies have their own chakra systems. And in the blueprint of light, I teach you, it is a program that I created. I teach you how to cleanse and clear that and how to realign them so that they are working coherently with each other. Because of the woundings that have happened in our society, these energy systems have basically split into two different essences that live inside of us. And because they've been at such odds with each other, creating a dualistic or polarized energy, it creates a lot of disharmony. So when you cleanse and clear those blockages, it then allows them to reunite. I call it divine union. To me, it's the twin flame journey that most of us are seeking outside of ourselves when it's really inside. And it then allows you, once you cleanse and clear these blockages, it allows your energy to flow with greater ease. And then it allows you to get more benefits from other practices, such as this meditation marathon that I'm doing this year. So even though my body was undergoing a lot of change last week, I still stuck to my meditation practice. And the shift that I did last week was I started doing EFT tapping with the mantras, or not the mantras, the affirmations, because there's 4 affirmations in every video. I created them so you have enough time to get in a flow of repetition and then you move into the next. And all 4 affirmations work synergistically together in a way, and they're based off of Florence Scovel Shinn's books. And I'm going through every single book of hers till I get through all of them. And as I read and go through them, I'm receiving downloads on what to utilize as affirmations. So, what I found, because I have one day a week where I do EFT tapping, and that's usually on Tuesdays. So, what I realized is when I was struggling to sit down and be present with these affirmations, I started just tapping my body. And I'm like, well, why don't I just do that? So I started using the EFT tapping routine, and just for each spot, I said the affirmation that comes up on the screen. And then I would move on to the next one. And I would repeat that process for each affirmation. And I found it really helped me to integrate it with greater ease. And I found that I like doing that during the daytime. At nighttime, I can sit there, I'm more present, but I'm finding that morning times can be a little more a bit of a struggle because I get up, I'm awake, I like to move. So I've been seeing how I can incorporate more of a moving meditation with this. For example, in the morning, I'll take the phone in and I will do the dishes or do some cleaning, and I'll use the meditations, or I'll take it into the bathroom while I'm slowly starting to get going during the day. So that's one way of doing it. The EFT tapping is another. I know some people might like to go on walks. You could literally go on a walk, have like read them out loud, however you see fit. But I found that it really helped me to stay grounded while my energy was shifting. I'm curious to see what will happen this week now that I'm not doing the energy healing. But what I found was the struggles that I was having at the beginning, the density doesn't feel like it's there anymore. I feel like I have a lot more ease in this practice. And I give 100% thanks to the energy healing program that I just completed, which is the Blueprint of Light. It really helped me to address the anger that was has been so readily present in my life even at such a young age. And I knew that it wasn't all mine. And as I've gone through my journey of understanding energy, understanding the collective, and tapping more readily into my gifts of being an energy healer and shaman, I realized that not all my emotions are mine, but it's my work to clear all of it. For whatever reason, I've been in contact and in contract with this stuff, which is why I did this big healing, because I wanted to cut the contracts so that I could step into a new way of thinking, a new way of being, and allow in new contracts. It was a complete out with the old, in with the new. And I finished it out with doing a cord cutting ceremony, because I believe once you cleanse and clear your blockages held within the energy systems, and I not only did the aura and the chakras, but I also just finished doing the meridians today to focus on all three systems. And I will probably still really focus on doing nervous system regulation and, cleansing and clearing anything that might come up, because once you finish big energy healing programs, it usually takes about a month for it to settle into your body, sometimes longer. So I understand that having um, a practice that helps my nervous system to regulate, really working on these mindset shifts to instill, because when you cleanse and clear your energy, it's almost like making it a neutral ground. It is very fertile for whatever you want to put into it. It's almost like a newborn baby, kind of. You're born again in a sense. So you have a new beginning, but you have the wisdom of who, where you've been, what you're doing. It's almost like, how people will say, "Oh, if I were to be born again with the knowledge I have now, I would do it differently." That's kind of where I'm at. I have the knowledge and I'm going to do it differently. And I do feel like it is that born again energy, truly, truly. Now that I'm kind of saying it out loud, it's kind of weird, but true. But the most interesting thing for me is how free I feel this week. And that's something that I really want for everyone in this next 9-year cycle and beyond. I feel like we are at a big shift. So if you are feeling called to do that work, you can check out the Blueprint of Light that is listed in the resources down below. I also have, if you're not wanting to do extreme work, but want to work on balancing your masculine and feminine, I have an astrology chakra connection course that is pretty profound. In the course, I teach you not only how to cleanse and clear your natal chart, but I teach you how to work with clearing blockages during transits and also how to open up the dialogue and conversation between your masculine and feminine energies. This truly has made a big difference in my life and how I communicate because I saw that a lot of the issues that I had had in relationships were honestly just mirrors of the dysregulation between the masculine and feminine within my energy field. And your astrology chart shows a lot of this and gives you a lot of access to it. It's kind of like playing mediator almost. And it's very interesting how each season has a different masculine and feminine energy. So in the course, I teach you how to not only access that, but how to work with it. And it's a really big game changer. So that connects into the essence of Mercury and communication. I feel like that's a very big pillar that's going to come up during this shift with the collective in regards to Saturn. I have been receiving downloads around Saturn in each of the astrology signs, and I will be posting about that a little later. But it's interesting to see how these structures, for good or bad, have been in place. And I know for each person, they're going to have a different structure, I guess, in a sense, for each person. I know everyone could say it's a social thing, but there's some people who benefit, there's some people don't, there's some people who've worked through it, other people where it's a complete barrier. It's interesting how we all have such a different experience, even if we live in the same areas, we live in the same society, we live in the same timeline, we are the same sex, we are the same ethnicity. Like you're in the same family, like stuff like that. How we really have our own experience. So for me, with it being a year one, and really tapping into the self, because a lot of the big outer planets are moving into Aries, Saturn being one of them, which is all about the self. And Aries is the first zodiac sign. So it taps into that inner child essence, which to me is exciting because I think it opens up a dialogue for a new way of being, but with wisdom and knowledge. So if you're wanting to take advantage of that, I highly recommend doing it however you feel called to do so. For me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and cleanse and clear my natal chart using the astrology chakra connection. I'm going to start that in, I almost said August, but I'm sorry, March. And I'm excited to see what comes up. I think it's going to be an interesting adventure. It's going to be different because I haven't done it since 2021, and a lot has happened since then. And I'm realizing I'm going into it looking at wanting to understand myself rather than what do I need to fix about myself? What's wrong with me? It's more so how can I understand my gifts? That mindset shift. And that kind of just tapped that energy and that want and the desire came up for me this morning while I was doing my research on the affirmations. And it showed me how my mindset has shifted so much over the last 4 years. And it truly is a beautiful thing, especially when it comes to working with affirmations that you love. And even when I started the affirmations in 2024, I'm realizing 2024, 23, I can't right now, my brain's not working. One of those started somewhere in there. And it's crazy to me how even when I started then, I was forcing results. I was willing things to happen. And it's so much fun to see how I'm no longer trying to push. I'm really detaching and letting myself enjoy this and really trusting God through the process, which is very much a Pisces North Node energy, which we are currently in, learning to have faith, even though you can't see if what's going on in front of you. It's a lack of personal control, but we have to trust that what's provided for us will give us safe footing, which can be scary 100%. And it's funny, the affirmations is I clear all, God clears all fear from my mind, for he has my best interest in hand. It's something along those lines, but it's really interesting how each week, each affirmation group builds on the next, and how that divine timing truly has been working out, because I wanted to rush a lot of things when I started this, and I kept hearing, don't do it. I'm like, trust the process. And it's really been working in my favor, and it's unfolding in a way that makes it magical. I'm not forcing it. I'm not forcing the results. I'm trusting that they'll happen in the time they're supposed to happen, in the way they're supposed to happen. But the best part is finding joy in learning the process, finding joy in being present, being surprised and filled with wonder around the magic of this work, and just how deeply connected we all are to this universe. It really blows my mind sometimes. I fell down the rabbit hole of like, who started the universe? That's how deep I went one day. I was like, Anna, you got to come out of that hole. Like, you won't know. All you know is it's a gift to be here in this reality for whatever reason you're here. So I really want to get the most from it this year. So I'm doing the meditation practice marathon, and I'll continue to do that until I finish all 4 books. Like, oh my gosh. I kind of looked at how much I need to go, and I'm just kind of like, trust the process, enjoy it. Like, it's kind of nice to have this as a, it feels like a safety blanket, because I understand there's a lot of change that's going to come up. And so this practice is providing me with almost like a goalpost each week. So I'm like, okay, this is something I can hold on to feel steady as I go through this shift. And I know a lot of us are going, everyone's going through it. Literally everybody. I don't think there's not going to be one single person that isn't going to feel this year, especially with the planetary shifts and alignments and transits that are happening, especially since they're so tied into the masculine and feminine of the collective, and the need for these parts of us to be heard and communicated. And I'm praying that everyone is blessed with the knowledge and clarity on how to best communicate that, how to best move through it as it comes up. And I'm really grateful that I was given the time to do it this week, and I trusted that, because I feel like my life is about to take off in a lot of ways, which is really exciting and kind of scary at the same time. I just feel like things are moving really quickly and really fast, and yet so slow at the same time. It's such an oxymoron. It's such a weird sensation. It's almost like when you're in the ocean and you're in that one pocket where it's cold and it's warm at the same time. If you live in Miami, you know what I'm talking about. It's it's a welcome sensation, but it's also really weird when it happens. But if you are going through these changes, I really hope that you take the time to look at the masculine and feminine energies, how they communicate, where they might have created blocks within your energy field, and how can you work to synergistically transmute that, so both sides feel heard, both sides feel safe enough to communicate and to be seen. And that's a process. Give yourself space, give yourself grace, and please know that it's okay if you don't have all the answers now. It's okay if you don't, do the crazy healing like I did. I just want to say that I did 4 of these Blueprint of Light energy healing program clearings last year. So my body was able to handle that amount of healing. I'm also an energy healer and shaman, and I was called to do it, and I had the time and the space. So that's my schedule allotted for that. Very different. That I I feel encouraged by this as I continue this program. I feel I feel a bit of unrest because there's that old part of me that wants control and it wants to know what's going on. It wants to have more of a solid feeling. And that's very much the Taurus in me. It's kind of like right now. But I also know that each day I'm given a gift and it's been a fun adventure to find the gift. And I know it's just crazy to me how when we're given time and space, we feel like we need to fill it, like we have to do something. And I really had to slow all of that down a lot for me, and just be okay with being. Especially today, I felt really uncomfortable with that, but it was fun just to be in my practice. It was fun to really relish the work I'm doing and not feel guilty around it, just to exist and be. And I really enjoyed it today. It was kind of a very peaceful feeling. So, when it comes to these mindset meditations, what I shifted was adding in more EFT tapping. You can either do them in order or you can do them however. You can add them into some type of movement meditation. Again, I love doing dishes in the morning. It's a meditation thing for me. So I'll set up my phone while I'm doing dishes and cleaning. I'll dance and I'll, say the affirmations. It feels good. I like doing that. I like putting it on your face, doing stuff like that. Like I found that a movement worked for me. And it's very possible that that might be a part of my cycle because I am currently, it's my time of the month right now. So that also was a part of the emotional, unrest. I wouldn't say unrest, it's just the emotional upheavals that was coming up. I was feeling a bit more than I may have. But I handle it like a champ. It's it was normal. I don't know. I love my period. It might be so weird to say, a taboo kind of, but I don't view it as a bad thing. I view my period as a sacred thing. And I I enjoy it now. I know that sounds so funny, but I do because I've learned how to work with it. So this week I just did the best that I could because I was doing a lot and I gave myself space. I'm not saying ignore your practice, but if you show up trying, you have a lot going on, especially since mindset work is basically energy healing work. If you're doing like 8 or 10 hours and then you don't have space for that, you give yourself grace. I know a lot of people aren't going to be doing that, but if for some reason, some week, you have a lot of energy healing and it's all for your self care, give yourself grace. It's another thing if you are keeping busy and you aren't doing any energy healing, you aren't doing anything for your self care, and then you ignore your meditation practices. That's two separate things because the recordings are literally 12 minutes. That's it. 12 minutes 2 times a day. That's it. If if anything, just do that. But for me, as an energy healer and shaman, it's just my cup of tea to do this work. I love it. And it's also a part of my journey to hold, I wouldn't even say hold space, but because I feel like this was such a release and a letting go. So a part of me feels very hollow in a sense, like empty, but it's peaceful. And I'm I know for me this year is all about learning to detach more and how to be at peace and to be still even when we've been taught we need to do more. So that's my continued practice and my I'm interested to see how I keep adapting with this practice and with my energy healing practices. So, especially since I did this big energy healing program, I don't see myself needing to do this huge upheaval again. I do see myself doing maintenance work from here on out. But with the meditation practice, I'm feeling very grateful that I started. And I'm very grateful that I can already see, even before I started this meditation practice, there's affirmations that I would say and I didn't stick to, but I got to look back and they came to fruition. So there's a lot of this stuff that I'm excited about, but I'm excited that I'm not doing it on my own. I'm excited that I'm welcoming in my spirit guides, God, and my ancestors into this practice with me to support me as I move through this, which is something that I didn't do in my last round of affirmations. So I feel that a lot's going to be different this time around, and I'm excited to see that just because the first time I started, my nervous system was jacked. This time, we've done so much energy healing, we've done so much work, and I have systems in place that actually support my energy. So it'll be very interesting how this all plays out. But I know I didn't talk too much about, you know, the affirmations, but I felt it was important to talk about everything else. These reviews are going to be basically about my week and what was experienced, what came up, and for me, cleansing and clearing the masculine wound was the biggest thing, and it was huge, it was massive, and it was so just divinely timed. I feel like I'm in this place of awe with the timing of everything and how everything is beautifully orchestrated and just really leaning into that and it's almost like flopping into a big comfy pillow just like oh, I just I love being embraced by this and I want to trust this feeling and have this be my norm and be able to come back to it. So I'm going to keep doing this practice, I'm going to keep doing this work, and I'm so curious. I thought about it because I'm only on chapter 3 of the first book and there's 4 books. I'm like, how good is this about to get? How amazing is this going to be? So we will see as it continues to unfold. So that is it for this week. And I hope you all have a blessed week ahead. And I'll see you in the next video.